Welcome back, and thanks for joining us today for another episode of Around the Block with GoodBlock. Today we have entrepreneur, jack of all trades, and a master of quite a few, and a personal friend of mine, Christina. Christina is a founder, builder, and a musician, and she has built, along with her team, Zeptagram, which is a music rights digital platform that allows people to sell the rights to their music to their fans, family, friends, or anyone that wants to support them in their musical endeavors. Christina, welcome.
Thank you very much, Leah and John.
Oh, it's so great to have you here. Let's start with a quick intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how Zeptagram got its start.
Well, we have, as you see, I'm sitting in the studio. So this studio is where a lot of rock bands were recording during the early 2000s and mid. And we went through this phase of CD sales that were great and good budgets for music production and so on. So we had we were quite happy with what was happening. But then came Pirate Bay and music for all but free. And of course, that was quite difficult to really survive on something like that. So the music industry went through a depression because of that. There were no budgets to create music, and the fees went lower for the producers and the creators. But then we have Spotify, which is also based from Sweden, where I'm based. And they started to do this, what Napster also did, and to stream music, but charge someone to actually pay just a little bit for it, at least. That's how it all started. And that gave hope to the music industry. And of course, Spotify became good and could spread the music, and you could get a bigger audience and spread music around the globe. So the consumption of music really, really grew a lot, but the income did not. So that's what is the pain? They always ask you when you have a startup. That was the pain. You had be a part of creating one of the most successful acts as we have in Sweden, an artist called Håkan Hellström. Everything from singing in this studio, writing his hit songs, but still, how do we pay our bills? And then I started to think, wow, this is something is not correct, because most professions, you are just average. You can pay your bills, you can pay everything. But here you were, delivering hits and actually being on the radio hits and everything, as far as you can come in something, and you could still not survive on it. Then I thought, this is something wrong, because the consumption was there, the artists were going, there was money for the accountants, the lawyers, everything, but not for the creators. So I said, well, there's something in this chain that is not working. And then I started to think about publishing rights. So that's how it started. It didn't start with blockchain. So publishing right, and how do you secure ownership and open up that market to invite the fans, as the football teams had done with football. So we started by selling our own 5 hits that we have written for this artist on an all auction house in Stockholm. And people were crazy about it. They crashed their homepage. I said, okay, there is an interest of this. But now, because this actually saved our finances, and we got paid, and then we got paid in advance, because that's what you get, advance payment of royalties. So we survived our finance crisis, so to speak. And then I thought, if we, who had been this successful, had this issue, this must be an issue all musicians have. So that's how we started. Now I wanted to find a technique how you could secure ownership and divide it in pieces, and also secure the collection of the royalties. And then we came across blockchain and NFTs, which this is. So this is 2015, 16. that's when we actually connected. 13, 14, that's where we sold the music rights. And 15, 16, that's where we connected this idea with the blockchain. And since then, we've gone through blockchain with Color and Prism. Yes, Color Prism. And then we did we had to wait for Ethereum actually for them to complete their smart contracts to be able to separate and create this, NFT. So the second MVP we did was with Ethereum, and then came the crisis, where the gas prices became quite high because when Bitcoin was around 20,000 and Ethereum was going up, as a small project, it was quite expensive with that. So we met Sukesh, who said, "Well, I'm going to start this blockchain that is called Telos. We haven't launched yet." And said, "But it's more green than Ethereum. It's faster and it's cheap in transactions." I said, "Let's go with that. I will go with that." So that's 2018.
I believe Zeptagram, when you and Sukesh came to Telos, was one of our first major applications, and it continues to be one of the more exciting applications on Telos. And I'm really interested in seeing how we continue to grow together. But for everyone watching, I know, Sean, I know you have exposure to the music industry. Christina, you're an artist, I believe, along with your partner. And so you both are creatives. For someone like me who isn't a creative and very uneducated on this space, Zeptagram helps with publishing, is a publishing platform for artists. How does the publishing industry work now, and why should it change, or why did it need to change? How do publishing rights even work?
Okay, so when you write a song, you will actually write a song and record a song. Let's say that you will have create two rights. You will create a publishing right, but also a master right, and which is the recording itself. And the publisher rights is the people who wrote the songs, and that would be then registered with the PRO collecting agencies like BMI, ASCAP here in Sweden, STIM. And then you have a publisher. Normally before you had a publisher who actually would be managing your rights and maybe promoting them, placing them with radio and send them to streaming services and so on. And before they used to take 30% of your rights just to be your publishers. And I mean, for artists that are doing well and they are, placing their songs to films and all sorts of things, that could be a good deal. But you have to understand this is 30% of, in US is 30 years. Within EU is 75 years. So it's quite a lot to grab from someone. Wow. 30% for that many years. So that was the standard before. And that meant the composer himself, they didn't have access to the market to be able to sell his music rights. Right. So it was the publishers, it was the labels and finance that actually done this deal in a closed door deal, more or less, because not many people were invited to those sort of deals. So that's one of the purposes of Zeptagram. It was to open up this market and invite whoever. You don't have to have the knowledge. You may have an interest of just collecting music, as we collected albums, but then you can collect music and the rights and have an income, but at the same time support an artist. And that artist may have only give you 5% and still have total control of what they can do, because with 30% and also an advance payment, which they often got, comes a lot of, you have to do this sort of music, you have to do this demands. So you are giving the artist freedom to create what sort of way they want, and they can do that in partnership with their fans.
I love that.
It decentralizes the music industry and it creates transparency, which is needed. And give back the power to the creators, you can say, and connect the fans with the
Yeah.
creator.
Which is, the promise that a lot of the executives in the industry make that they 100% don't deliver on, because they are taking such a big chunk, and because they become directors telling the artist, this is what you need to do. This is what's commercial. This is what you need to how you can be successful. If you don't do this, then we're not going to keep publishing your stuff.
Exactly.
Sing these songs, sing it in this way, change this tempo, blah, 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 all the stuff that start to eat away at artists. And I've seen young artists who, they'll go with it because they don't, they see that opportunity, but it still begins to change them as artists, because then they lose that creative edge. And I think with Zeptagram, it appears to me that you guys are allowing people to have that opportunity to retain the ability to be fully immersed in their own creativity in that process. And I think that's super important.
And have your ear very close to your fans.
Yeah, exactly.
As always, we have to understand that everybody will not be an entrepreneur, even if you're creative. So everyone will not have the energy they demands for a person to really take control of their career. So that's why I see the, music labels, the big publishing firms, they are coming in this space, and they will have to, because first of all, there's a lot of money in it. And they also need the fans. And if the fans wants to be a part of the ownership, they cannot say no. So the deal is done. They will come in, and we will work with them as well, because this is the game.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to your point, since I've gotten to know Christina, one of the privileges of being friends with you has actually been being able to learn more about the music industry. Of course, I consume music, I don't create music, so I was pretty ignorant to how it works. And some of these great people I follow on Twitter and Instagram post pretty shocking things that as a consumer I would never think of. One of them that sticks out that I think Zeptagram could help artists with is keeping track of their points and their publishing rights. And I've seen quite a few artists on like Instagram say, oh, I didn't know I had these outstanding rights, or I was able, I could take ownership of this, or I'm actually owed this much money, but because this song was performed by this person on this date and I have performance rights, or whatever that is called. Sorry, I'm still learning. So it seems like something like Zeptagram having a ledger that's on a immutable blockchain could help people track this information down, because what are they doing, Christina? Are they just writing this stuff on paper, or who's keeping track of this stuff?
I think you also end up with unethical people, Leah, who are taking advantage of artists they know it's in there, they have a ledger, they know that money is owed, but they're not paying it. And so, and I think that's where things get sideways, and that's where it gets messed up, because you have and that's really the reason why Zeptagram is needed, and other apps similar that allow creatives to, sadly, code is law, and it's sad because humans aren't doing the good things that they need to do for each other. So we have to have apps like Zeptagram that help essentially removes those people from the equation, so that the artist is able to.
So that's, I think we are in the early start of this journey, because that's the goal, that this is a it's ecosystem, because you need more players than Zeptagram to make it solid and total and bulletproof. But I think we've been a part of something that's very important, is because in order to sell this, we had to educate artists about the importance of securing your intellectual properties, which they've been very bad at. And as you say, you were a young artist, you're working with a very clever lawyer who knows everything about agreements and so on. They can just fool you however they want to, because if you don't have your registration in place, you don't have your identity, you're not properly registered, you haven't registered the song properly, people will play it. and they will actually they could even protect it because you haven't protected it. And then
Right.
when it's becoming famous, then you won't get a cent. So this is something that I think we've been a part of to make create an awareness how important it is to protect, because even on the blockchain, in order to protect, you have to put it on the blockchain. You have to create an NFTs. So this is what you can do with Zeptagram. Even if you don't want to list a song, you can create an NFT just as a proof of ownership.
Right.
And
We
then
need to make
later put it on the BMI or whatever, because then that would be where they were collecting money, because we don't collect so far the funds. We go through BMI, ASCAP, and the collecting agencies. But they will have to change to blockchain and AI. And AI. You have to protect everything you create. You need to protect it, because if you don't protect it, how will you collect money? But then after you've protected the music, you still have the issues of the black box, as you were, I think, thinking about, Sean, where money that is not, it is earned by this song, but it is not sent to the correct address. You have many reasons for that. One is not properly registered. That's one of the often most important thing. And if it's not properly registered, they just take it, put it in a black box, and don't give it to the right, or even not look for that person. That's
Right.
one. Second is, if you, for instance, if you make less than this and this, they don't collect that and send it to you. They say, we will keep it until you reach this $10. But if you go to a shop and buy something, would someone say, well, I will give you only 10 because even though you've paid for it, I want to give you 10 of it. No one would accept that. But in the music industry, this works. So this will change. So that's why I'm so optimistic when it comes to the music industry, because first of all, because of what they went through, they have a larger audience than before. And as soon as we can create this ownership and secure it and put AI with the flow. So now you create your ownership on Zeptagram, you send it to Spotify, they and then put it on the blockchain, and with AI, look for the income stream and then send it back to that coin. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But it has to be built. But it is building. People are building that.
I love it. You cracked me up because I instantly thought of going into the coffee shop and saying, yeah, can I get a coffee? I'll pay you when we reach $10.
Yeah. Imagine.
I'll be back tomorrow. I'll get another coffee in 2 or 3 days. We'll hit that $10 threshold. I'll pay up at that point.
This is what musicians have to live with. I've been doing many things because I started with music at the age of 30. So I was quite late into that game, even though I've always done music, but to be, doing it, to record and put it out. So I've been doing other things, but I have never been in a business where the people who are the most valuable are so badly treated, except for a few stars, except for a few.
So you didn't start in the music industry till you were 30?
No.
So like in the last 2 years?
John, I'll give you lots of flowers when I see you.
So that's so fantastic. Such great information to have, I think, for artists. Yeah.
So Christina, I know Zeptagram has a lot going on. You guys have been live now for 4 or 5 years, right?
Well, live. I know 4 or 5 years. Yes, that's it, because we were live actually before Telos with
That's awesome.
That's a long time. What is happening now in Zeptagram? I know that you've recently partnered with Lobster, and can you just tell our audience all about that? Because I'm sure quite a few people will be excited after watching this to know how they can participate.
Yeah, I love Telos. I think they've been a great partner for Zeptagram, and they are really ahead of their curve. But as I found Telos, I always believe that we are heading towards a multi-blockchain world,
Totally.
which
Yeah.
Telos is also looking at, because I always tell her, can you build me highways to the world? Because this is
Yeah.
what we have to do, and to connect it. Because if we connect all of this, because we people will always choose and we want the choice. So we need to connect the choices so that is a highway in between. And I love Stellar blockchain, also green and all this, fast, very intelligent blockchain, but
Hmm.
also that they have been thinking about, helping poor people in unbanked countries, which I really love, because it hurts me. A lot of talented people, even musicians, if they are on Zeptagram, for them to get a bank account and get paid is very difficult in many places. So now we, with Zeptagram, are offering a person that maybe not even have a collecting agency in their country. We can do that for them. They can protect their music. And now if they want their audience to buy Zeptagram music, they can use it through Lobster Zepta coins, because with Lobster Zepta coin they can then use MoneyGram and cash out in their countries, which is something that Lobster is offering. So I think
Hmm.
to put that, so we've connected that wallet to Zeptagram, so you can make a swap on the platform
Oh, cool.
with a Zeptagram that is Stella based and
Hmm.
Telos based. So you can
Oh,
swap
great.
those on the platform and use it to buy music rights. And the artists now, if they are getting royalties, we can then give them royalties in Zeptacoin Stella, and then they can actually cash out with MoneyGram, even in a
Hmm.
small village in Africa. That's good.
Cool. Yeah, that's really good. I
Mm.
love that. I think that the multi-chain approach is absolutely true. I don't think that app builders, I don't think you ever need to apologize for thinking about how you are helping your users grow their business and grow their entity, because utilizing multiple blockchains to make your app better is the future. It is where we're headed, and
It is.
different blockchains have served different purposes, and
They do. They do.
we happen to love the antelope based chains for specific reasons, and because they do certain things, and because of the way the governance is and how fast they
Yeah.
are. At the same time, there are other tools that are out there that are available. I mean, that at GoodBlock we build D-Store, and D-Store is a part of it does work with antelope based chains, but it is really chain agnostic. It's, and
Yeah.
whether you're in Web3 or Web2 or whatever,
Mm.
it's a tool for people to be able to use. So they're just tools.
Yeah, and then we all are moving, because no one can do everything. So we have to, put our efforts together and build this way. Because what I see is that, however you say it, the future, you can call it DL, distributed ledger technology. You can say that in Korea, central bank digital, currencies. But we are talking blockchain. So
Hmm.
we are heading to a world that will be based on blockchain, DLT, and NFTs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So however we get there, that's how we should use it, and put our hands together and just move this world to a different level.
For sure. Leah, any final thoughts or questions?
Yeah. Yes, I know, Christina, you already have many artists using Zeptagram. Are there any you would like to call out and just send a little extra love to that are currently on the platform, or perhaps having a sale on the platform right now?
As we've been working together for many years, we have some artists that we've been grown together more or less. We have, for instance, Annyett Royale, which we start with, one of our first artists on the platform. And I mean, we are so pleased, because we don't only have her as on the platform, because we work with her even producing the music. So we've been
Mm,
working producing her 2 songs now, and mastering. Sometimes we mix, sometimes it's been mastered. but two of them had actually been on the top 40 charts, radio charts in the US. So, which,
Awesome.
and I think the latest one is number 14 or 13 last week, which is amazing. So when I look at that, I say, wow, look, we have, she's popular on the platform, but also that she's been evolving, and we help her with marketing, because this is what we do for the artists who we work with. So we've been promoting her in Germany, and now she have listeners in Germany that she didn't have before. So it's so great to see when Zeptagram work as it should, with its full potential, what success that can be even for the artist. So she's happy, we are happy. We have many great artists, but I just wanted to tell you that story because it's so, it's the best as it can be. That's it.
True partnership. And
Yeah.
Sean and I were lucky enough to see Annyett perform last year in Austin, and she's
Yes.
truly incredible.
Yes, she has a great voice, and she writes her songs as well. So she's very talented.
She's amazing. She
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
thank you so much for spending time with us, Christina. How can our listeners follow you or learn more about your work?
So I think they should go to Zeptagram.com. And also, don't forget that we haven't mentioned we have two platforms, because we have a minting platform where we have Telos Native, where you can mint in a very cheap way, not like Ethereum or anything. And then we have VAX. So we have two blockchain on the pure minting platform. And then we have three platforms. and then we have this the NFT where you have the music rights, where you can create an NFT of the music rights, but at the same time create an NFT of your artwork.
That's so cool. So artists can participate in different mediums. It's not just music.
Yeah. So, but Zeptagram.com, Telegram, Twitter. We have a Discord that I think you should join, because if you really want to follow, and we have interviews where artists there sometimes. I myself get in there and talk and tell about what's happening.
Awesome. Yeah, of course, Discord. I really like Discord. I like how they do the channels there. It's
Yeah.
perfect. So for the audience, we will put all those links in the description for this episode. So don't feel like you have to pause and rewind several times, but we'll have all those links for you. And this is the last question we like to ask people when they're on the show. Christina, what besides Zeptagram is your favorite Web3 app right now?
Lobster.
Fair enough.
No, I have to say, I like it's so simple the way they've done it. It is a very clean cut. I really look at this. I want to do more of that simple everything,
I love it. Well, we'll provide a link there to Lobster as well. So I've never tried it, so I need to try it.
Yeah, exciting. So, and Leah, Sean, thank you very much for having me. It's been my pleasure, really, as always, to talk to you guys. But now we're going to listen to I Want to Know with Annyett Royale.
You're my sunshine. You're my moonlight that falls down from the sky. You're so amazing. Yeah. Good girl, fly guy. Hit me up in your fast ride. Hit the town for a dope night. It's about to be a long night. 'Cause you're so fly. And every time I take a look at you, there's so many things I wanna do. Like, just for a little bit, I wanna hold your hand. Love the way that you want me. Ooh, space, baby, goddamn. Love the way you stay on me. Want you to be my man. Love the way that you want me. Love the way that you own me. I wanna know what turns you on, baby. I gotta know if but I don't mind. Cause in the end, you gon' say you want me. Put your hands on my body. I'm just seeing what it's gotta be. By the end of the night, I wanna hold your hand. Love the way that you want me. Ooh, bitch, baby, goddamn. Love the way you stay on me. Want you to be my man. Love the way that you want me. Love the way that you want me. I wanna know what turns you on. I gotta know if I'm the girl you want and how you want me. I wanna know, do you think of me at 3 in the morning? I wanna know how I can make you mine, baby. Wanna know what keeps your eye, it gets you open. I gotta know, I wanna know what turns you on, it gets you going. I wanna know, I really wanna make you mine, mine, oh mine. I wanna know if I'm the one for you, baby. I wanna know what keeps your eye, it gets you open. I wanna know what turns you on, it gets you going. I wanna know, I really wanna make you mine, mine, oh mine. If I'm the one for you, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Baby.
Well, that was a great interview with Christina. I had a lot of fun.
For sure.
Special thanks
Yeah.
to Christina for coming on the show. Again,
Brilliant.
Zeptagram.com is the website if you would like to learn how you can sell rights to your music on your terms.
Yeah.
So, having said that, coming off that great interview, let's go to another great thing and head out to Nathaniel for Moss's Market Minute. Let's see if you can keep it a minute or under. Take it away, Nathaniel.
NFTs and intellectual property. What do you actually own? NFTs gained popularity when generative art and profile picture projects such as CryptoPunks were touted by celebrities and affiliated people with crypto communities. These tokens could not be replicated and represent ownership of an asset, real or digital. Many NFT creators restrict commercial use and include a license that only gives holders rights to use, copy, and display the NFT. For example, Twitter founder Jack Dorsey sold his first ever tweet as an NFT to a buyer named Sina Estevy. While Estevy owns the NFT linked to the tweet, Dorsey retains the original copyright, which means that Estevy cannot print the tweet on t-shirts or sell other merchandise without his permission. As an NFT creator, laying out the terms is more likely important than the NFT itself. NFT creators need to outline the terms and conditions of how their artwork can and can't be used by new owners. NFT owners should also follow the rules outlined by intellectual property laws governed by their country. That's all I got to say about NFTs for now.
Fantastic stuff, Nathaniel. That's one of my own personal passions as far as mass adoption is concerned, is helping people understand the actual real value of NFTs and their versatility. So we'll have to get you to give us a minute on that at some point in the near future.
Absolutely.
All right, BS of the week. There's always BS. There's always lots of things to talk about. One thing that popped up, though, this last week, which I think is sort of crazy, is this whole deal with Silvergate. Now, Paul Davies from Bloomberg wrote this: if Silvergate Capital fails, it might be the first bank to be brought down by bad liabilities rather than bad assets. He goes on to say a lot more. It's a really great little piece. But the thing is, there's another example of an organization or an entity that came out of one space in banking, came into the crypto space, probably hired all the wrong people, and then made really, really unbelievably bad, questionable choices in how they were managing other people's money. This is really, really nutshelling it. They were basically acting in a way between exchanges and people as kind of a flow through for money. It would kind of transfer through through their system, and they called it the Silvergate Exchange or Silvergate something exchange. But the reality is they were just really acting kind of like a Western Union. And so money would pass through. But the thing is, with Western Union, people are fast to collect their money. With Silvergate, they weren't always fast to collect that money. So sometimes the money would sit, and then the money would end up getting used by Silvergate for other things, which they're not supposed to do. Now, that is a really, really pared down version, and I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but that's a super simplified version of some of the choices they made, and you can't do that. It's sort of mind-blowing, the choices they made to get to this space. And it's an example of how it'll be so difficult for blockchain and the blockchain ecosystem to gain mass adoption out there in the world, because you have situations like this where people's focus isn't on really growing in a healthy manner, but growing quickly regardless of the consequences. And so how they managed their business and how they managed other people's money led to this place where they're at now, where you had a successful business and now you got greedy. So that's the BS of the week. If you haven't had a chance to look into it, check it out.
It's just weird because it sounds like they're doing this preemptively. Like they already know they don't have everyone's money, or...
Yeah, they were supposed to file something with the SEC, and then they decided to file it late, which is a huge deal because you have all this time to prepare all of these financial documents. And then they ended up saying, oh, we're going to be 2 weeks late filing it because we've had these other things come up. We're going to lose money this year, so we want to have an extra 2 weeks, which then made a whole bunch of people pull their money, which then made their value dive.
Wow. Well, a lot of this is over my head, but it's definitely made me want to look into it more and figure out maybe how this is going to affect the greater market, if at all.
Because of the volatility of the crypto market, people would be moving in and out of the bank very quickly. It said as much in its 2021 annual report. This is the quote: deposits attributed to digital currency customer investor funds are assigned the highest potential volatility. The crypto deposit amounted to 82% of its deposit base, knowing that it was extremely volatile.
Why do these people keep doing this kind of stuff? They must really...
They want instant cash.
But
real
why?
banks,
Because
large banks.
There are
Yeah.
other liabilities.
I mean, they're a regular bank and they know better. Large banks have to keep enough high quality liquid assets to cover 30 days worth of deposit withdrawals under stress conditions. And they weren't doing that. They took more risk. You've got all this money that's very volatile and needs to be liquid and move quickly. And they were putting those funds into long-term securities, knowing that those people would want to withdraw that money.
So they just don't care. They're like,
No.
oh, well, it'll be tied up so long and legal if anything were to happen. Wow, what a great space.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is why we need more. I mean, let me turn this around to something positive. So there's always going to be people who are going to go down that road. Maybe good people at some point were at Silvergate, and then they hired a bunch of people who played fast and loose with the rules. And granted, people in our space don't necessarily like rules. I don't like rules. But the reality is some rules are there to protect people, and we need to have them in place. And when you start throwing people under the bus, and you know, the SEC is going to come after you. When you start burning your investors, they're going to come after you. And so to turn around to positive, that's why we need more organizations and more people, more apps, and more businesses that truly are deeply inspired to, they recognize the good and the potential wonder in the Web3 world to build things that will last. And I mean, obviously that's our our folks at GoodBlock. I think that's within the Antelope Coalition itself. I see a lot of that. I see that in some of the new things that are popping up on some of the other chains. I see it in the UX network. So we just need to keep encouraging those types of businesses and come together more, so that we can manage the onslaught of BS that will continue to happen in this space. And this is the deal. If stuff like that continues to happen, more regulations are going to come in that are going to ruin it for everyone.
It's unfortunate we, in the space cannot regulate ourselves. Like, that was the whole idea. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Thanks for the rundown, Sean. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope that made sense. I don't know if it did, but
it made sense.
The end result is the end for us is just let's continue to be good people and do positive things in this space, and we'll eventually bring the skeptics over, and hopefully and also their money and their investment into positive, good projects that make a positive impact on the world.
All right. Wow, that is some BS. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you want to learn more about Web3, check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification icon. Also, if there's a person or a project that you would like to see featured, let us know in the comments. Thanks, everyone.